We're honored to have Thank you. We're honored to have Anagha take this conversation, whose work really has transformed the lives of many adolescent girls and young women by equipping them with knowledge, with skills, with opportunities. And talking about skills, I have to say this beautiful earring that I'm wearing was made by the girls that Anagha worked with. She gave this to me in New York when we met for the first time. So this is somebody that has worked with adolescent girls for years, and she has been able to raise girls that thrive, girls that lead. So I encourage every one of you to engage actively throughout the session, share your reflections in the chat, ask questions during the Q&A. We have time set out for that, and we'll have a lot of time for that. And think about one practical action that you can take, that you will be taking after today's session, after today's conversation, to better support girls in your family, in your school, in your workplace, in your organization, or in your community. Think about something that you will be doing differently. Thank you once again for being here, and I look forward to this engaging and inspiring session. Thank you very much. So I'll hand it back to Victoria.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ade. Thank you for that insightful welcome address. Thank you. Next to um, why we are here, I think it's appropriate to give honor to whom honor is due. Um, Hence, I would be reading out the citation of our speaker, and then please, if you are here and you are really happy to be here and you are hoping to learn a thing or two, I expect you to respond actively with an emoji in the chat as we welcome her. Thank you very much. So, our speaker is Anagha. She is the Director of Innovation at the Mandeshi Foundation and the founder of KickStart Girls. You could look that up on Instagram also. She works with adolescents and young women from rural and marginalized communities, equipping them with the knowledge, tools, and resources needed for financial inclusion, digital literacy, livelihood pathways, and community leadership. She serves on the board of Mandeshi Bank, India's first bank for and by rural women, and is a member of the task force on growth at CGAP. She's also a Vital Voices fellow. Please, um, everyone here, participants, whether you are a member of, you're a volunteer at RAF, or you are just the first time participant of our webinar, please can we welcome Anagha as she takes on the next session. Thank you very much. Please, you're not doing it well. You're not doing it well. Please, can we flood the entire dashboard with emojis? Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Please, Anagha, you're next.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Ade and Vicky. It's just very generous of you to give me the opportunity to share some of the learnings that we've had in the work that we do here in India. And I know I have, ever since we met and I found out about your work, and it was so naturally aligned to the work that we're doing in India. I hope this is the beginning of a partnership we can build and just create pathways for girls in the global south to thrive. That's what I have in mind. So thank you so much. Your team's been extremely kind with the whole process, sending the word out, getting people to participate. Thank you so much. And I have never seen my screen filled with so many emojis. That was really a great start to the session. So I've put together a few slides because I thought, considering that we are here in India and we're talking to people from so many different parts of the world, a little bit of context would help. So I'm going to share a few slides. Um, when I start, I must say this is not work that I do. This is work that I do with so many women and young girls who are all confident, courageous, and it's their passion, their courage that drives everything that we are doing today. So, to start with, I would like to ask everyone to think about a time when you were 10 years old and ask yourself, would you have described yourself as somebody who is confident? You can send a thumbs up, you can put something in the chat, anything. Would you have described yourself as confident? Would you climb trees? Would you swim in lakes? Would you ride a bicycle? Would you go up to new people, make new friends easily? Yeah, today when I was thinking about that question, it also, my first response was, I would like, similar to what Mitch says, I want to think so, that I was. But when I started thinking more, I said, no, there were so many moments of hesitation that held me back. And it really made me think, what were those moments and what were those obstacles? As a young girl growing up in India, what were some of those things that would have prevented me from not riding the bicycle as fast as I wanted to, probably not climbing a tree when I was around people, not going up to strangers. And I think the answer that came to me was that society is teaching girls to be perfect. Our parents, our educators, when it comes to girls, the people we work with, and today, when I think about it, because now so many of us here are in a capacity where we work with young people, with young girls especially, there is an impossible standard and expectation when it comes to raising girls. We want them to be perfect. And this goes back in history when there is such a long period when girls were always expected to be neat, be perfect, be organized, be systematic. Just every standard of perfection was imposed upon them. And in the process of expecting girls to be perfect, I think we, instead of pouring confidence into them, we started pouring our anxieties, we started pouring our fears into them, taking that confidence away. And the message that I reminded myself of was that when society is teaching girls to be perfect, we need to raise them to be brave. And when I say brave, it's not the absence of fear. I would say it's knowing your fears and still doing things anyway. So I'm going to share a few lessons that we have learned, some foundational ideas that we have worked with and that have worked for us in our work with girls in India. And I think wherever you are, these may be helpful for you in the context of the work that you are doing. So first thing, when we started the program KickStart Girls, under which we work with young people, young girls in India, the first lesson was, my money is my confidence. We can empower, in our experience, we learned we could create as much awareness as possible with girls, but until they had access to financial tools, financial education, until they had the tools to create assets and resources for themselves to be able to make those decisions, it became very difficult for them to thrive. So we started with financial literacy, financial education in schools. We started going since 2023. We have started going into public schools, semi-aided schools in rural India. And we have started talking to girls about savings, having a bank account, budgeting. This can be as small as 2 rupees a day, which is way. I don't know what percentage of a dollar, but it's 2 rupees a day. Save it. And that's how you build a future for yourself confidently. At first, when we started, the girls would never ask questions. But slowly, with our work, and when you build a community, you make girls feel like they are being seen, they are being heard. We saw many more girls asking questions in the class as well. We make sure that girls do not remain limited to the areas that we are working in. They get exposure to institutions, they get exposure to opportunities, platforms that really broaden their worldview, because seeing is believing. And as long as you are not taking girls to places where they should be seeing themselves in. It's very difficult for girls to visualize themselves in places outside of their villages, outside their colonies, outside their small towns. So it becomes very important for us to create opportunities for exposure visits for them. A wonderful lesson that we have learned in our work with girls is that when girls are empowered, they don't just keep that to themselves. They make sure they give back to the community. And so many of the young girls that we trained through our program became ambassadors of financial literacy. They became ambassadors for other people in the community. These girls are now supporting us in going in schools and creating games teaching younger children about financial literacy, because the younger you catch them, the more time there is for them to build their future as well. We have seen girls who have been trained by us also going into the community, talking to women business owners who are working on the street, who are selling vegetables on the street, who are selling fruits on the street, who are selling small sweets in the street. They're teaching them about digital payments, because what happens is it's these women who are laboring in the sun, in the middle of the day under the scorching heat, and they're working hard to make a living for themselves and their families. But because they do not have the financial tools, the control over money remains with their husbands, which is why we have girls in the community now going to these women and telling them, you need to have control over your money. We will teach you how to make those payments. We will teach you how to receive those payments, but you need to have more control over your payments. So here you can see how women ask questions, girls answer them, and the chain keeps growing. Now, one thing that we saw was for a lot of girls going to school, going to schools which are not close, not in their villages becomes difficult because there are challenges of mobility. So with financial independence, the second lesson for us was mobility. Mobility is so important when we are teaching girls to lead. So we had a very simple solution that came from the community itself. We had girls tell us many years ago that all we need to go to the college is a bicycle. We were thinking about so many solutions that we could come up with to ensure that girls would not drop out of schools. But something that the girls told us themselves is, if we have a cycle, if we have a bicycle, we can go to school. We do not have to depend on any adult. We do not have to depend on our father, our brother, any adult in the family, any male adult in the family to take us on their bikes, to walk with us. We will not have to wait until it gets brighter and miss the first class because school starts earlier. So a very simple solution for mobility, which is helping so many girls continue their education uninterrupted. The third thing, along with financial independence and mobility, is skills. We have seen so many girls who either drop out of school because of early marriage, early motherhood. They're forced to drop out for these reasons. But once they have skills, they are able to build a better life for themselves. Similarly, we see that the girls who are also in school, in colleges, access to skills give them the opportunity to start bringing in a small income for themselves to support their education. So we do workshops like these. In fact, the earring that Ade was mentioning and the earring that I'm wearing here today, those are all made by our girls and in workshops like these where they have been taught to make those. We have also taught girls how to make tote bags. So these are different skills that we teach them, which help them make products, sell products, which helps them bring in a small income for themselves and their families. We also make sure that there is awareness and there is education for these girls beyond what is happening in their village, because there is a huge danger to knowing only one single side of the story. So right now all these girls are exposed to is their worldview around their villages, and I'm sure that's the case with so many of the young people, young girls that we are working with. But giving them access to cinemas from all around the world, giving them access to media from all around the world, that has really helped broaden their worldview. Reading a newspaper in the morning, in our experience, has really helped so many girls think above and beyond themselves, their communities, and also sympathize with people who they've never met, who they've never seen before. But now they understand what's going on in the world and they come up with solutions two problems around them as well because of more awareness. Alongside financial independence, mobility, and skills, the third thing we have to build is leadership. What we're doing is we have started a model of a school bank. In this model, we are training girls for careers in STEM. So we are training girls to have careers in business, in finance, in banking. And we are doing this by giving them skills of running a bank within their schools. So we have children opening bank accounts and girls who are trained in skills of running these banks. So somebody will be trained to be a bank manager, somebody will be trained to be a cashier, somebody will be trained to be an auditor, somebody will be trained to be a banking correspondent, and then they will help children save money. So they become advocates for financial education within their schools. And this also helps build aspirations for future jobs in the banking industry for women. One very interesting thing on a lesson in leadership we learned was that when we started our first school bank in 2024, the school told us that if the school ran this bank successfully, if these girls were able to run this bank successfully, the girls wanted a toilet to be built in their school. It was very unfortunate that the school did not have a toilet for girls. So the school ran this project for a year, and then along with Mandeshi Foundation, we came together and we built this toilet for them. And this toilet was painted by the girls and the boys of the school together, which is also an important lesson in allyship, because you cannot empower girls in isolation from these boys. It's very important to also ensure that boys get involved in the process at some point of time, because that's how we can make sure that when these girls come to school, their classmates, when these girls go back home, their family, we have to make sure when these girls go back to offices, when these girls go to college, their classmates, their peers, their colleagues, they are all also trained in a way that they are sensitive, they are allies for these girls, and they help these girls thrive. We can see young mothers who are now saving for their children's education. It is so wonderful because in our experience, we've seen that when a man in the house gets access to money, that money is for himself. That's spent on his luxury, his needs. But when it's a woman in the house who gets access to money, she's the one who will make sure that it's invested in the family. It's invested in ensuring that the children, the family thrives. So we have seen how girls become leaders. These are the young women who then ensure that their children are well taken care of, their education is well taken care of. We have also introduced another idea, which is a very practical strategy. If any of you would like it, it goes back to the idea of seeing is believing, where we've seen that for girls to aspire to have careers in certain industries, they need to know that we can be there. And it's very important for them to see themselves there, because a lot of times when you don't see somebody who looks like you in a certain place, it's very difficult for you to visualize yourself being in that place. So we organized a competition where we said, we invited girls across the state to send in videos saying, if you became the CEO of a bank for a day, what changes would you like to make? And then we selected two girls among them as a first opportunity to become the CEO of an actual women's bank that we run for a day. And we saw one girl becoming the CEO, one girl becoming the branch manager. And we could see the sensitivity with which they approached issues when they met customers, when they met team members, when they thought about policy decisions, and they told us how we could do better. And these are the girls who are going to be leaders of tomorrow. So it's very difficult. It's very important that we make sure that any of the difficulties they see, they envision for themselves in making these, in seeing these dreams, we can meet them there. We saw two of our girls who were invited by the Global FinTech Festival in India to share their lessons in leadership of how young girls in rural areas are becoming champions of digital literacy, financial literacy. And we saw how they were invited. So the two girls in yellow, we can see how they were invited there at Global FinTech Festival, and they were talking to people from across the world. These girls barely speak a word of English, but they had the confidence to go in there to talk to the people in some medium possible, and they were able to tell them about how young girls are leading a revolution of financial and digital literacy in rural areas of India. Why I'm sharing this is that it's also very important for girls to have the exposure to these platforms, because otherwise their world remains very limited to their villages and the towns that they are in. So, the fourth lesson that we've learned alongside financial independence, mobility, skills is voice. Voice is very important for young girls because it tells them. I often hear this thing that we need to help our girls find their voice. And I always find that very surprising, because I think our girls already have a voice. They have a very strong voice. We just need to help people listen to this voice. So we have a community radio station where our girls have started a program where we've helped them with setting up the studio, where we help them with ideas. But it's the girls who completely run this, and they talk to each other about things around them, about the things they notice, the things they see, the things that they would want people to know. So it's their experiences, not in anybody's words, but their own. We also have children coming in from schools, young girls who also tell us what it's like to be young girls studying in a school. So many of them are first generation learners. They recite poetries, they recite songs they listen to. It's a small start, but just hearing your voice and have knowing that there is a way for you to speak out, it's very important for people to know that. We've also had some of our girls who are a little older go into the field and interview people about their experiences, ask them questions, ask the tough questions, because these are young people, these are young girls, and the decisions people around them as adults are making really impact their lives, which is why it becomes very important for them to have the opportunity to ask these questions as well. The fifth principle that I want to talk about is agency. So, financial independence, mobility, skills, voice, and now agency. This is something that we've had, I would say, the most enriching experience with in the last a year and a half. So, we have picked up first generation graduates, girls who are first in their families to go to schools, graduate, and now aspire to find jobs. We help them develop this pathway for themselves. So, girls who are already courageous because they've broken so many norms and stereotypes to get to where they are today, we help these girls with being able to build opportunities and skills to be able to do that for themselves. So, this is a photograph from one of the activities where we help girls make a vision board for themselves. So, we tell girls to think about things that they see in the newspaper and what are some of the things that their aspirations are aligned with, and this helps them get some more clarity. There is a very interesting experience where one of the girls, after doing the vision board activity, one of the things she wanted to do was sit in an aeroplane for the very first time. And I will come to her story a little later, but she got the opportunity to do that. So, for so many girls, it helped them enforce the belief that we can manifest our dreams if we work towards them. We help girls by building their confidence to make presentations. A lot of times, the ability to speak up in front of a group of people is often the most difficult thing for a lot of people to do, but it's a skill. A lot of people think public speaking is something people are naturally good at, but we help break that stereotype down, and we tell girls it's a skill, and anything that's a skill can be learned with practice. So every week we have girls making presentations, and it's a mindset that needs to be cultivated for them, and that's something that we've seen a lot of progress with. Because they're going to be first generation employees, we make sure that they have the financial tools to be able to navigate these scenarios. So, through various games, we see girls learning financial skills as well. One thing that we've seen makes a huge difference in the lives of girls is having good role models, positive mentors who can help them navigate this journey. So, we have partners who have volunteered with us to be able to mentor these girls. Mentorships help girls ask questions that they probably cannot ask people around them. A mentor can help build a safe space. A mentor can give professional advice that the girls may not have people around them who could answer. So we've also seen that having positive mentors for girls who engage with them consistently can also really help build their confidence. Another thing that consistently keeps coming up in our experience is that when girls are given the opportunities, they don't just keep them to themselves, they always make sure that they can give back to the community. So it's so interesting that we had girls take up social action projects where they went into villages and they took up topics such as substance abuse, dowry, female education, why having access to finance is important for women. And we had so many of them tackle issues, go to men, ask them about substance abuse, talk to young women, talk to young men about why are you getting your young daughter married, why are you not giving her the opportunities to study further. And they did it in very non-confrontational ways, in ways that they did skits, they had surveys, they interviewed people, and they reached out to local governments to see what efforts could be made. So we saw how young girls who had previously never stepped out of their homes, with some opportunities, with some support from organizations like ours, they were able to take up community issues and become young leaders within their communities itself. We saw girls who had never seen a swimming pool also learn swimming. And this is a life skill that really, really helped them, which will go a long way, and it will really, really help them get over the fear that they have. And once you learn something that helps you get over one fear, it always gives you the confidence to also pick up and do other things that you were fearful of. We had girls who took up internships before they took up jobs. And this is one of our girls, one of our fellows, Rupali, who took up an internship with the police department, and she was able to work on projects on domestic abuse, on child protection. We've also had girls like Asha Madhvi who took up internships with non-governmental organizations, with non-profits, where they were leading work on the ground for maternal health. This is one of those protests that they were a part of. We've had girls like Savita who are interested in social media, and we can see how they are now learning skills. So from not knowing how to turn a laptop on, we now have girls who are working with social media agencies, helping them make tools. And when these girls finally graduate, their parents, you can see the pride. You can see their teachers come in, you can see their parents come in, and you can see what a difference it has made those 6 months, those 8 months that they come here and they undergo the program. This is a very, very special project, a moment for all the people that we work with. This is the first batch that of female graduates that we work with, all first generation learners, and they completed an 8-month program. And thereafter, they were out in the world, and now all of them are pursuing their independent journeys. So this is the girl that I was talking about, Kajal, who is a first generation learner. She comes from a marginalized community in India. These are scheduled castes which were formerly considered to be untouchables in India. And they live in colonies which are quite isolated from the rest of the village as well. So Kajal is the first in her family to go to school, the first in her family to graduate. And she was the first girl in her village to wear a jeans. A jeans can seem like something very, very simple. Wearing a jeans can seem something very, very simple to most of us on this call here. But for Kajal, it was an act of rebellion. It was a revolution. It was a quiet revolution that changed the lives of so many girls. So Kajal was invited by an organization, a philanthropic organization, to come to Delhi, which is India's capital. She's in a small village in India, and now she's being invited to the national capital. And that's when the first time she got to sit in a plane. And that's how she manifested one of her dreams from the vision board. Like I said, this is not work I do myself. This is work that I do with a wonderful team of young and young at heart women. And they all put in all they have into helping build better futures, brighter futures, and helping build confident, courageous, brave girls. So while I thought I can talk about all the work we do, nothing would make it as impactful as having two of those girls here and being able to share their stories as well. So, before I hand it to them, one thing that I just want to end with is we cannot raise girls by telling them to be brave. We have to raise girls to make them brave by giving them the chances to be brave. So, as educators, as parents, as people working with young people, what we need to do is we need to give them the chances to be brave. So, every time a girl opens a bank account, every time she rides a bicycle, every decision she makes, every question she asks, every stage that she stands on, every salary she earns, and every stereotype she challenges, every time she says no, and every time she says yes, bravery is built one opportunity at a time. And to go back to where we started, everybody around us, the society, the world is already teaching our girls to be perfect. Everybody on this call, can we take a pledge to be the people who teach them to be brave? So, with that, I will pause here and I will now invite two of the girls who I work with uh, to come and share their stories. We have Mansi and we have Sakshi. If I can invite Sakshi to start. Sakshi.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Can I start?
Yes, please. Sakshi, camera.
Uh,
Can you turn
Hello.
the camera on?
Yeah, yeah, I will.
Yes, we can see you now, Sakshi.
Hi, my name is Sakshi, and I am BCom graduate and currently pursuing my post graduation with specialization in accounts. Hello.
Yeah, I can't hear her
Yeah,
anymore on my end.
can you repeat yourself, Sakshi? Even I couldn't hear you.
Okay. My name is Sakshi. I'm BCom graduate and currently pursuing my post graduation degree. Uh, Firstly, I would talk about the community where I grow. Um, Here in rural area, girls face many challenges like early marriages, and because of that, they have to end education and then least career opportunities or fewer educational opportunities, and even they got the opportunity of study in colleges often provide the theoretical knowledge, and they don't give us the exposure of practical knowledge. And when the representative from the KickStart Girls Fellowship visited our college campus and explained us how this fellowship will provide us the skills, business skills, communication skills, digital skills. And that time I feel that I got an opportunity or I can find the way to build my career. So I joined the Kickstart Girls Fellowship program there. And now I can say it was the great decision was made by me, because here people don't want to take girls their decisions by own. They think when girls wants to take any decision, she must talk with parents, she must take the permission of parents. But that's the first time when I took decision myself, and this fellowship program gives me opportunity of staying away from my home at very first time. It was a great experience. And fellowship. After joining the fellowship program, I started thinking more about my how can I grow, what are the fields where I need to grow, improve myself, and here.
साक्षी मला परत आवाज येत नाही. I cannot hear you. Can you say something?
Hello.
Yes.
KickStart Girls fellowship program helped me grow both personally and professionally as well. Before joining the program, I was not very confident to speak with new peoples, to express my opinions. But after joining the fellowship program, it helped me improve my communication skills, leadership, and most important, English communication, because I'm not very good at English, but still, Kickstart Fellowship Program gave me that confidence that I can speak and share my own opinion, through in fellowship, through workshops, field visits, community programs.
Oh, I think, did she get signed? I think she got locked out.
Yeah, she has been locked out. I'm
Okay,
guessing
no
her
problem.
internet.
Okay, no problem. Meanwhile, Mansi, are you here?
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Sakshi, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay. You can keep your camera off if that helps.
Uh, I'll continue. Uh, Workshops, field visits, and internships gives me practical experiences in digital, as well as financial literacy, workplace communication, documentation, working with people who came from different backgrounds. The fellowship also taught me being independent, only away from family, adapting to a new environment, made me more responsible and confident. So,
Oh, Sakshi, I can't hear you again.
hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Um, Also, I started dreaming here in fellowship. Uh, in the future, I would like to start my own travel agency. Actually, this idea is come from my personal experience. During my college days, I had to wait for a long time for buses, which often made me late for college, and wasted a lot of my time. In many rural areas, people transportation is limited, and local buses are not easily available. People often have to travel to the main bus stop before they can continue their journey. For girls and women, this can be even more challenging because they depend on male family members to drop them at the bus stops. And my goal is to make daily travel easier and help students and women reach their destinations on time. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much, Sakshi. So, uh, so you all have some context. These are girls talking to you from villages that are so small, where there is basic internet. Girls have access to basic phones, and while everything about them is ordinary, they have extraordinary courage, which helps them really be the girls that they are today. Mansi, can I request you to speak? So, Mansi will speak in our regional language and I can help translate for her.
Yes. Hello everyone. My name is Mansi. I am from India and my English is not good. So I'm तर मी किकस्टार्ट गर्ल्स प्रोग्राम हा ऑक्टोबर 2023 पासून जॉईन केला. तर किकस्टार्ट गर्ल्स म्हणजे काय आणि वर्कशॉप म्हणजे काय हे आम्हाला माहित नव्हते. पण जेव्हा आम्हाला मॅडमनं बोलवलं त्यांनी थोडी माहिती सांगितली. मग त्यांनी सांगितलं मला की आधी खाते उघडायचे आहेत. मग खाते म्हणल्यावर आम्ही फक्त आमचे खाते म्हणजे की स्कॉलरशिप म्हणजे पैसे येण्यासाठी आम्ही उघडायचो. पण हे बचत करण्यासाठी एक वेगळंच होतं. मग आम्हाला आणि तेव्हा फॉरेनर पण होते वर्कशॉपसाठी. मग खूप छान वाटलं म्हणजे फॉरेनर इंग्लिश वगैरे बोलायचो. मग ते आम्हाला खूप अट्रॅक्शन व्हायचं आमचं की ते खूप छान बोलतात वगैरे. मग आम्हाला 50-50 रुपये असे आम्ही बचत करत होतो. तर 50 रुपये जर महिन्याला 50 असं महिन्याला बचत केले तर आम्हाला गिफ्ट भेटायचे. मग अशी आवड निर्माण झाली बचत करण्याची. आणि नंतर मग आमचे खूप छान वर्कशॉप व्हायला लागले. टोट बॅग पेंटिंग असो किंवा पॉट पेंटिंग, नंतर क्रोशेचे कानातले वगैरे असे खूप छान वर्कशॉप व्हायला लागले. नंतर मग ह्याच वर्कशॉपमधून मी ग्लोबल फिनटेक फेस्टिवल हा जिओ सेंटरला मुंबईला होता. मी फर्स्ट टाइम मुंबईला गेलते आणि माझ्यासोबत जी माझी मैत्रीण होती अंकिता, ती पण फर्स्ट टाइम गेलती. म्हणजे आमच्यासाठी खूप वेगळं होतं तिथं जायसाठी की तिथं मुंबईलाच आम्ही पहिल्यांदा गेलो, तेच आमच्यासाठी वेगळं होतं. तर तिथं आम्ही ना जिओ सेंटरमध्ये आम्ही जे लोक आहेत ते खूप म्हणजे फॉर्मल ड्रेस घालून ब्लॅक अँड व्हाईट, आणि त्यांना आम्ही आमच्या इथं मुली कशा पैसे बचत करतात ते ATMचं वगैरे आम्ही त्यांचे फायनान्शियल कसे असतात ते आम्ही त्यांना सांगायचो. आणि खूप छान म्हणजे की आम्हाला इंग्लिश येत नव्हतं पण आम्ही शॉपला व्हिजिट करायचं आणि त्यांच्याकडून आम्ही जाणून घ्यायचो फक्त की काय आहे, आणि ते इंग्लिशमध्ये बोलायचं आणि आम्ही फक्त या करायचो. आणि ते झाल्यावर पण आम्ही असं हे नाही केलं की आम्ही की त्यांना इंग्लिश येते ना आम्हाला येत नाही, असं नाही. आम्ही त्यांच्याकडे जाऊन त्यांच्याकडून माहिती घेतली. मग तेवढे आमच्यात क्रेझीनेस होता की आम्हाला ते ऐकायचंच आहे. ते झाल्यावर नंतर मग मी इथे आमच्या इथं महाराष्ट्रामध्ये लाडकी बहीण योजनेचे फॉर्म्स म्हणजे की आम्ही म्हणजे मी पहिल्यांदाच फॉर्म भरलेले होते. मग ते मला खूप छान म्हणजे मानदेशीने अपॉर्च्युनिटी दिली की मला लाडकी बहिणीचे फॉर्म भरले. नंतर मग मी असे वेगवेगळे हे स्किल्स शिकायला लागले ह्यांच्याकडून. आवाज येतोय? हॅलो,
येतोय. मानसी, तू कॅमेरा ऑन करू शकतेस का?
माय कॅमेरा इज नॉट वर्किंग.
ओके. ओके. नो.
नंतर मग मी लाडकी बहिणीचे वगैरे फॉर्म भरायला लागले. मी जे स्कूलमध्ये मॅडम फायनान्शियल वर्कशॉप घ्यायला जाते त्याच्यासाठी मी व्हॉलेंटियर म्हणून जात होते. म्हणजे मला स्किल्स शिकायला खूप आवडतात. नंतर मग माझे मेंटरशिपचे मेंटरशिपचे कॉल व्हायला लागले. मला बेसिक ग्रामर शिकवले वगैरे. आता मी एवढं इंग्लिश बोलत नाही पण मला समजतं इंग्लिश आणि मी बेसिक बोलते. नंतर मग मला मानदेशी फाउंडेशन आणि किकस्टार्ट गर्ल्सने अशी संधी दिली की मला ना त्यांच्यासोबत सामील केलं म्हणजे टीममध्ये. मी नई सोच हा प्रोग्राम हे करते. माझ्या अंडर नई सोच प्रोग्राम आहे, मी ते कोऑर्डिनेट करते आणि मला टीम सोबत पण काम करायला खूप आवडते. आणि माझ्या स्वतःमध्ये न्यू स्किल्स आल्या की मला लॅपटॉप येत नव्हता, मी लॅपटॉप शिकली. मी मोठ्या मुलींसोबत काम करते, त्या पण मला मॅडम म्हणतात. जे खूप वेगळीच फिलिंग आहे ती, आणि ते खूप माझ्यासाठी नवीन आहे. आणि मी काम करते तर माझ्या फ्रेंड्स मला म्हणतात की तू किती छान आहे, की तू मानदेशी फाउंडेशनमध्ये काम करते, तर आम्हाला पण बघ की. मग आमचं फेलोशिप प्रोग्राम आहे, तर त्यासाठी मी त्यांना सांगितले की आपलं ग्रॅज्युएशन झालं ना, तर मग आपण फेलोशिपमध्ये जायचं. तुम्हाला 6 महिन्याची ट्रेनिंग घ्यायची आणि नंतर लगेच तुम्हाला जॉब लागतोय. म्हणजे त्यांच्यामध्ये पण थोडेसे हे झालं की आपण ग्रॅज्युएशन झालं का आपल्याला जॉब आहे. त्यासाठी थँक्यू. हॅलो.
Okay, thank you, Mansi. So I'll just translate, and of course, a lot of what she's saying in our regional language, that is Marathi. Um, so a lot of, I mean, it can be lost in translation, some of the humor, of course. But the substance of it is when Mansi's from the first batch of Kickstart Girls that we started. So we started with a group of 100 girls in 2023, and today we have a community of over 5,000 girls. So she's one of the girls who stayed with us through the years, through the 3 years. So when we started the program, Mansi was mobilized by one of our team members who had told them that you would need to open a bank account and you would need to develop the habit of regular saving for your education. And she said up until that point, her sister and her only had a bank account because the government would give them scholarship because they come from one of the marginalized communities. Girls from which community get access to a scholarship from the government, so they were only, their bank account existed only for that. We never thought that we as young girls could save for our own education, so that's when they opened the bank account and they started saving for their education. And she said the reason they got they wanted to come, they got attracted to the workshop was because at that point of time we had 2 foreign interns who would speak English. And she said just listening to those interns speaking in English is what made her think that, okay, maybe if I come to this workshop, I get to learn to speak English like them. So that simple thing made her come to the workshop. And over the period of the year, she attended various workshops, from tote bag painting to crochet earring making. We did workshops on social projects as well. We spoke to them about democracy, about elections, all these things. And after, as a part of that workshop, 2 of the girls were also invited to participate in the Global FinTech Festival. So Mansi and her friend Ankita, those were the 2 girls who participated there. And it was the first time either of them had been to a city. I remember when they first came to Mumbai, because where we are headquartered, it's a drought prone area. So a lot of children grow up without ever having seen the sea. They go a lifetime without ever having seen the sea. And the first time Mansi came to Mumbai, which is a coastal port city in India, they actually saw the sea for the very first time. And I remember a question she asked me, which was, how far does the sea go? How far does it flow? And I told her it's endless, it's boundless. And excuse me, she's sharing an experience how everybody at the fintech festival was wearing suits and pants, and they were the only 2 people who it felt like did not speak English in that gathering. But that did not deter them in any manner. They still went from every stall, visited every stall there, spoke to every person they could find, and they made sure that they got the information about the product, the offering that the stall was making, because they wanted to make the most of the experience, that the exposure that was provided to them. So she said every time somebody asked us a question, we just kept saying yeah, 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 because those were the only words in English that they knew. But they said we still, that did not deter us, we did not hesitate, we went to every stall, we asked them about the product, and we wanted to see what is it that we can bring back to our community. So the other thing is, after that, Mansi has also become part of the organization in a way where she volunteers with us, and she also has helped with a campaign to provide access to financial services to young women in the community. So we have a government scheme, and Mansi was one of the young girls in the community who mobilized young women to become beneficiaries of that government scheme. Mansi also said, this is the first time when I started working with the organization that I learned how to use a laptop. Now, when I work with the organization and go in the community, I get called madam by people, and the feeling of being called madam by people who are older than I am, it just gives you a different kind of respect within the community, and it gives you so much confidence about the work that you're doing. She now runs the radio show that we spoke about called Nai Soch, which means a different new way of thinking. So Mansi interviews other people in the community, positive role models for the girls. And over the years, Mansi has become part of the program. And so many people around her in her village keep telling her it's so great that you get to work with an organization that helps you and has made you such a leader in the community. And she also said that I don't want it to stop. I don't want the buck to stop at me. I also want our young girls, the other girls that are around me, to be able to participate in the program, to be able to benefit from the program. So I'm going to find opportunities for them to also be able to benefit from these, from whatever is out there. And I think that's the most wonderful thing about the girls we work with. They will always make sure that if a door has been opened for them, they will open doors for others as well. They don't wait for a chair at the table, they build tables for themselves. And like I said, these are these are ordinary girls with extraordinary courage. And something that we've seen with the women over the years is how rural women who were street vendors, who were breaking stones, digging wells, they had nothing, and their courage became the capital upon which they built their lives. And now I see the similar courage and the confidence in our young girls as well. And the message is, at its core, confidence doesn't come first. It's always action that comes first. You cannot tell somebody, be confident, ride a bicycle. It's always that you have to ride a bicycle consistently, and that gives you the confidence to be able to ride a bicycle. So similarly, when we work with girls, when they're learning new skills, we always tell them, you cannot just tell them that, yeah, have the confidence to be able to do it. You need to you need to encourage them with the tools and the resources which keeps them at it. Even if they fall, they should know that it's a space for them to rise up again and try again. So the fear of failure is something that we really need to help them overcome. And then we see them become the amazing, wonderful, brave girls that they are today. And so many of them are lessons that we have learned along the way. And I'm sure so many of them will also stay true and be true in your cases. Before we end, there's just a small video that I would like to show. Is that okay? Okay, so because you could only meet and listen from Sakshi and Mansi, we thought we have a small video from the first batch of female graduates from the community that we worked with, and I would now like to show that video. My screen is visible, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
मी माझी जेव्हा 12वी झाले त्यावेळेस माझ्या घरच्यांनी माझं लग्न लावून दिलं. तर तिकडचे लोक म्हणत होते की तू शिकू नकोस वगैरे. मग मी माझ्या मतावर ठाम होते, मला शिकायचं होतं. मग माझं स्ट्रगल, मी ती काम करू शकते का असे बोलायचे की तू काय करणार, तुला काय येते का, म्हणजे माझी हाईट पण कमी. मी माझं बेस्ट देणार असं मी सांगितलं तिथं. मी म्हणलं कोणत्याही वेळेला मी काम करायला तयार आहे. मला असं म्हणजे मैत्रिणी वगैरे बोलतात तुझं एवढं हे करून, तुझं एवढं दिवस वगैरे होऊन पण तू एवढं करते तर खूप भारी आहे तू, असं बोलतात. तर मला वाटलं होतं ग्रॅज्युएशन नंतर माझं लग्न होईल आणि ते स्वप्न तिथंच थांबेल. कोणत्या दिशेने जाऊन कोणत्या नाही. जेव्हा मानदेशीकडून मला हे फेलोशिप जॉईन केल्यामुळं मला म्हणजे हे भेटलं की वाट मी कुठल्या दिशेने चालू शकते.
मला असं वाटतं की ग्रामीण भागामध्ये असा प्रॉब्लेम आहे आणि मला माझी ट्रॅव्हल एजन्सी सुरू करायची. पण मी जस्ट बोललेल्या गोष्टीवरती पण एखादा व्यक्ती असा विचार करेल की म्हणजे हिच्याकडे या स्किल्स कशा आपण देऊ किंवा हिच्या या स्वप्नामध्ये आपण कशी मदत करू, हे मला कधीच वाटलं नव्हतं की कोणीतरी याचा पण विचार करेल.
पण इथं आल्यापासून माझ्यात एक आत्मविश्वास निर्माण झालाय की ते स्वप्न मी पूर्ण करू शकते. तर नंतर मी फेलोशिप जॉईन केल्यानंतर मला असं वाटायला लागलं की नाही, मी त्याचा पण सामना करू शकते. तर मी स्वतःला बदलण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. जेवढं मुलांना सुद्धा आहे तेवढं मुलींना सुद्धा आहे स्वप्न बघण्याचा हक्क, असं मला वाटतं. आणि तिथं कॉन्फिडन्स बिल्ड होतो. आपण प्रेझेंटेशन पुढच्याला कसं देऊ शकतो हे पण डिजिटल फायनान्शियली सगळं मला असं देऊ मी बोलू शकते त्याला.
दिशा दाखवण्यापासून रस्ता शोधण्यापर्यंतचा, स्वतःशीच अनोळखी होऊन नव्याने स्वतःला ओळखण्याचा, माझ्या अस्तित्वावर बोट उचलणाऱ्या प्रत्येकाला गप्प करण्याचा, स्वतःच्या दुनियेत मनसोक्त जगण्याचा, पंख पसरून आभाळ व्यापण्याचा आणि प्रवास मला जमल का पासून मला जमलं पर्यंतचा. Slogan for Kickstart Girl is Maza Paisa, Maza Confidence, which is my money means my confidence. And following that trend, we started the Kickstart Girls Fellowship to be able to give employment-based skill training to girls who wanted to take up jobs and who wanted to then become financially independent to be able to make decisions for themselves. This is just one cohort. We definitely would love more such cohorts, more such young, brave women who are able to go closer to their dreams.
Thank you all so much for patiently sitting through and listening to me and Sakshi and Mansi and watching the video. Yeah, over to you, Vicky.
All right, thank you very much. Please, can we give a round of applause for Anagha and the Kickstart Foundation, please? If you know you've been, I want to use the word blessed. Yes, please just keep it coming. Thank you so much. This was quite an emotional and insightful session for me personally. Thank you so much, Anaga. I really, really, really I feel very fulfilled sitting through this entire session. Thank you so much. Please, if you have questions for her, can you just drop your questions in the chat, and then I'll read the questions out to her. Please just drop your questions if you have any. But then while we're waiting for questions to come up, I have two questions, but I think I lumped them into one. And my question is focused at culturally sensitive societies like India and Nigeria. What are the challenges you face in the whole girl child empowerment space, and how have you been able to overcome those challenges? And my second question is, what are your strategies in tackling those challenges? Thank you.
That's a great question. Both great questions, and something that Kickstart Girls and the larger foundation that also works with women, we have been grappling with. So, like you said, it's a culturally conservative society, and we've had to deal with the decision of working only with women and now only with girls. One thing that we've realized is that you cannot force people to change their minds. It does not happen. If you force people to think in a certain way, they may think that way for an hour, for a day, maybe a month, but then they're going to go back to their old ways. You really need to change their minds and hearts in a way that they're also truly aligned to what it is that you believe in. And that takes time and it happens in stages. The first time we wanted parents to send their girls to a workshop, a 2-hour workshop, also did not happen by us just posting it on social media and telling girls, come for the workshop. For a lot of girls, it meant us having meetings in the villages with their parents and being able to tell them why this is important. Because a lot of times, parents also cannot envision brighter things, brighter futures for their daughters. For a lot of people, they have a lot of self limiting beliefs where they believe this is how the society is, this is how my life has been. And considering the marginalized communities they come from, I think the idea is that this is what my life has been like, and though I would want my daughter to have a better life, I know it's not going to be much different. So I think we need to spend a lot of time talking to families, talking to mothers, especially talking to fathers, and being able to tell them why this is important, why your daughter is not you, and why she could have a better future only if you gave her the opportunity to work towards her dream. So the community radio that we run, we make sure that there are stories of girls who have been able to break through these challenges, and then these girls become role models in the community. So like Mansi's sister Madhvi, she's one of the first people in her family to graduate. She's the first person in her family to have a job. She's probably one of the first girls in the community to have a job for herself. And when to go to a city and have a job for itself is what I mean. So when a girl like Madhvi does this, she becomes a role model for other girls in the community. And when girls and parents see one girl doing this, they also believe that, okay, now I think my daughter could also do it. So it takes a lot of counseling. We have parent meetings at regular intervals. Even mobilization takes a lot of conversation with parents. And a lot of times the buck doesn't stop at the parent. It also means mobilizing community elders. It means talking to the local government, building community leaders who can also create a mindset of change for people. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of patience, but it's very rewarding because this one person in isolation cannot change society. They need the support of other people. It has to be a movement, and the movement can only be built by people. And a lot of times, something that I think is a very core principle is for somebody to get power, somebody has to give up that power. Power also does not function in isolation. I'm saying this very candidly. So when a girl in the family is getting some power, somebody in the family is also giving up some amount of power. And sometimes you need to acknowledge that and you need to celebrate that. You need to make the person feel that you're giving up your power for a good reason, and somebody is going to really change their life with the newly found power that they have for themselves. But so this also is done through our community radio show. When parents come, we make sure that when girls graduate, we call their parents on the stage as well, as you saw in one of the photographs. So then parents also feel recognized and appreciated for their efforts. When Kajal became the first person in her community to wear a jeans, a lot of people told her parents as well that now your daughter is going to spoil our daughters because she has now started wearing a jeans. Our girls are going to start wearing a jeans. We don't want this modernity to come in. But Kajal's parents stood their ground and they said, we don't think our daughter is doing anything wrong. Was there a period when, as parents, they would have had to bear the brunt of the society? For sure. But they took that upon themselves, and today that has changed the lives of so many girls. So I think at some point of time, you need to acknowledge the sacrifices that her parents have made as well, to help society progress in this direction. So we make sure that when we see this change is acknowledged, and people who are creating this change for young girls in the community, they are also celebrated. But it's a painfully long process, and it takes a lot of patience, but it's very rewarding, and we do see results. The first time a girl is allowed to go out for a workshop, the first time she leaves her village, we've had team members speaking to parents late into the night, making sure that their daughters can turn up tomorrow for the workshop, for a visit, for anything like this. So the team members go all out in being able to make this possible for so many girls. But we know this work is worth it. This change is going to take time. It's going to take a lot of work. But yeah, we do it anyway. And I'm sure that also stands for so many of the other parents and young people here who are working with the youth in the community.
All right, thank you very much. That was quite clear. Thank you so much. We have two other questions in the chat, and I'm going to read them out. Or do you want to just read them out and then respond accordingly?
I can do that. No problem. Thank
All
you.
right, sure. Please go on. Go ahead. Thank you.
For those whose parents weren't receptive and only saw people trying to help build their children as someone they could take advantage of, how did you handle it? Did you stop reaching out to those teenagers? So we've had parents before who very, very stubbornly, adamantly, vehemently put a stop to their daughters attending workshops. Some of them who pulled their daughters out got them married anyway. Now we understand in the process, this transformation is not going to come overnight. And as much as we want to, we will not be able to probably reach every girl and be able to convince her parents. There are so many times we've tried to intervene in marriages as well. Sometimes parents who think of it and give the girls more time to get married before they discuss marriage prospects for them. But sometimes these decisions are made well before the girls even know about it. So until the girls know about it, there's no way we know about it. So a lot of times we've tried to see how we can keep the girls engaged. So one of the girls that Mansi went with to the Global FinTech Festival, she was able to delay her marriage for a year because she started working, she had more finances, and she was able to support herself. And then she was able to choose a partner for herself. So she did that. But what happened is, after she got married, her in laws did not want her to continue working with the program, attending the workshop. She is a young girl of 19 years. And because she was now living with her in laws, she could not make that decision for herself. Did we stop working with her? Did not stop working with her entirely. We try engaging her in ways that we can. So we still have her saving with the bank. So she still makes regular deposits that she earns from, say, during festivals, or from money that she must be saving from whatever's given to her to run the household. So she's saving small amounts. So we try to find ways to keep those girls with us. And parents who are actually the ones who are able to who go out and support their daughters in their journeys, we also see how we can get those parents to speak to other parents in the community, because sometimes it's better when it comes from somebody who is one of their own. So we see how parents can talk to other parents and talk about, their daughters' journeys, how difficult it was for them, and how other parents can also take that as an example. So that's something that we've done. And that is something that has helped the most. Community leaders, people who are elders in the community, who are respected in the community, once they are able to talk to other parents, that also makes a difference, is what we've seen. So yeah, do we stop reaching out to them? We do. Unless there is absolutely no way for us to continue working with them, yes. But we try to find other ways to work with them and stay engaged with them in some manner. Next question is, I hope that answers your question. Thank you for asking it. Next question is, when we have conversations like this, people are quick to think these strategies only pertain to girls from low income families and communities or marginalized populations. Would you say these strategies work the same for girls from mid and high income communities and families? Uh, so many of these are also relevant to girls from mid and high income families. Sometimes I feel girls from low income communities, because they have very little to lose in a way, their parents are also more open to letting them participate and, like I said, be brave in so many ways. But girls who come from middle and higher income families, so many times we see there are more barriers for them at times, because their parents have some conception of something they could lose. I would say in these, we've also seen, so in areas where we work, there is not much of, I think, more than the class difference, we have other social distinctions like caste. But we see that even when girls come from mid and high income communities, it's not that a conservative mindset can be with any parent, be it from a low income community or a high income community. And it's the mindset that needs to be challenged as a whole. And so many times we've seen that once somebody is from a high income community, the mindset is that my daughter doesn't need to work because we have income in the family. So we do not need her to support our family's income, which is not working in favor of the girl. We've had so many girls, when they get married into families which are better off than their families, they think life is more comfortable, but it becomes way more restrictive for them in those situations as well. So some of these strategies, some of these, I would say, challenges are also relevant for girls when they come from mid to high income communities. The ways of reaching them could be different. The incentives for them to participate in things could also be different. But I would say the challenges of girls who come from low income or marginalized communities, it's more intersectional and it comes with different layers. And I would say similarly, when you come from mid to high income families and communities, the restrictions placed upon you are also different and layered in different ways. Not to say that either of them don't have their set of problems, they have their set of problems, but the strategies would need to be different in some ways, because I think the kind of challenges that we're dealing with in both cases could be different. So we've seen that in our work as well. But that's a good question and something that we've been grappling with as we move to slightly more peri-urban areas, not so much of the rural areas. So that's something that we've also been working on. Um, Next question is, my major takeaway is that we need to move from talking to acting. It is not enough to tell girls to be brave, tell parents to give their daughters opportunities to be more. We need to begin to create these opportunities and spaces for girls and parents and communities to learn how. That's such a beautiful thought, Emmanuel, because today when I was thinking about this conversation, I was thinking so many of the anxieties that I grew up with were probably not my anxieties. They were my mother's anxieties or my father's anxieties, and they reflected them off me. I was not anxious to get on a bicycle. It was probably my mother who was anxious of me falling, which prevented me from getting on a bicycle. I don't think if I didn't see my parents' body language change, or my teacher's body language change, I would not have attempted certain things. It was when I saw them look differently at me. When you see boys being encouraged to, climb trees, and girls not being encouraged to climb trees because, girls would fall, you'd break your bone. The same things go for boys as well, right? Boys can break their bones too. But somehow, when it comes to girls, everybody wants them to play safe, play it safe. And I think people are bouncing off a lot of their anxieties upon their girl children, upon their daughters, the other girls that we're working with. And we're not doing the same with the boys, which is why we're raising so many young, brave boys, but not the same for girls. So I think we need a very different approach. When it comes to girls, and we need to see how we can get our more girls to be brave in that way. um, we also need to see more of what collaboration will do for us than starting out alone. knowing well that we can't do it alone. Passion is another strong factor. Yes, thank you so much, Kinikachi. That is also such a wonderful thought. And that's something that Ade and I have been talking about too, right? That there's not, I mean, there's only so much we can do alone, and there's so much that we can do together. And I really hope now that I've interacted with a few of your team members, this is the beginning of something that we can do, which can impact so many of the lessons. We can take them from our course to yours, and we can see how that exchange can be really fruitful for girls across the global south. The other question that Tolu Wanini is asking is, I have seen how much debate there is around the role of nature and nurture in shaping a child's life. I've also seen many teenagers affected by generational patterns and cycles. How can I help a teenager break free from such patterns and become more responsive to the help, guidance, and opportunities available to them? That is such an important question. So regarding the role of nature and nurture, now a few things that come from nature that science has proven, I cannot challenge them. But I feel the role of nurture in today's world is a lot more stronger when it comes to seeing a child thrive, a young girl thrive. So nurture plays a very important role, because if I ask myself, I think I have the role of nurture is so important because you're not shaped by any one person as well, right? You're shaped by so many factors around you. You're shaped by your teachers, you're shaped by your classmates, you're shaped by your peers, you're shaped by colleagues, you're shaped by other young people you come in contact with. So there is so much that nurture is doing for us. And especially I think when you meet people who are different from us, it does trigger a lot of patterns and cycles that we are being conditioned to, or maybe we've been subjected to. So if you're working with a teenager who is affected by patterns and cycles that has been passed down, firstly, acknowledge it. I have seen a lot of times people start by not acknowledging that somebody is going through something. It may not look the same for two people. So always know that things can look very different for the same thing can look very different for different people. So a lot of times we don't want to acknowledge that somebody is going through it. And a lot of times know that you don't have to validate something for someone. A lot of times somebody just wants to be heard, wants to be seen as they are, where they are. And I think the most difference that anybody has made in my life is seeing where I could be rather than seeing me where I am. So if you can help a child see their potential, see them for who they are and see them for where they can be, not where they are today, it can make a huge difference in their life. And I think a lot of times children know what they need. If you listen very carefully, some of the best solutions for problems that we are tackling with individuals or with communities have come from communities themselves. Have come from the children themselves, the communities themselves. We did not need to import a Western solution to deal with things that our children are going through. So a lot of times we need to know the solution will not look the same for everyone, because the problem does not look the same to everyone. So acknowledge it, understand what the teenager, what the child is really trying to say, because a lot of times we have interpreted the problem in our mind much before we have even truly listened to what the person is trying to tell us. So that's something that I would always caution you from doing caution you against doing. So make sure that you're actually listening to them completely. And sometimes all you need is just somebody who listens to you and is there for you when you need them. and a lot of times don't go with the attitude that I'm going to solve this for you and I'm going to make your life better, because that's all you. This is not about you. A lot of times we end, as people working with young people, we make it about ourselves and it's not about a child anymore. So if there's a way that we can be cautious that this is not about us, this is about them. And again, something that generational will not be solved overnight. It may not even be solved in a year. And also, it's very important to acknowledge your own limitations. Sometimes, when you need to know that maybe I'm not equipped to do this for this child, it's always important to have that humility and know that about yourself, that maybe I need to bring someone else who can deal with something like this. So, just knowing when you need to bring in maybe somebody who's more trained in this, somebody who's more equipped with the tools to help a teenager going through something like this. I think that's also very, very important for knowing that for yourself. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much for asking. Uh, the next question: being brave comes with taking risk and probably doing the unusual. So my question is, how does one balance letting our girls take the risk while still protecting them from taking unnecessary risk? Oh, I agree with Ade. This question makes 100% sense. A lot of times, when we are asking girls to be brave, I'm not saying we put them at risk. There is, of course, always going to be the risk. Unfortunately, the kind of society we are living in, I cannot tell you, oh, the world is all rosy and green for our girls out there. The world is their canvas. Let them go out there and do whatever they want. I know that's not true. And we should not be delusional about this. We know there are things that are real dangers for girls out there. And sometimes there are risks that are naturally out there, sometimes risks we create in the process of becoming leaders. When girls become leaders, they also take up so much risk from within the communities, because nobody likes change, right? It takes a lot for people around you to get used to that change as well. So that can also come up with so many of risks. I think the balance lies in knowing what are some of the risks that are worth taking, and what are some of the risks that far outweigh, what are some of the benefits that far outweigh the risks that one is taking. So I think just knowing that really helps me balance this in my work and in my life as well. Knowing when something, of course, there are risks involved, but if I decide to do it, if I put my fears away, if I do it anyway, the benefits are going to far outweigh the risks, are probably going to outlive me as well. So in that case, do it anyway. But of course, that's why I think girls need champions like us, right? That's why girls need parents who believe in them, educators who believe in them. They need other people, young people working with them, who can really help them see the difference and see what are some risks worth taking, what are perceived risks, what are probably risks that are just in their mind and probably are not even true. So that's why I think when you're working with young people, that's one of the most important challenges and responsibilities that you carry with you, that you help young people see these things for themselves. uh, Acknowledgement, a word of thought. But yeah, thank you, Olalemi, for asking this. That was a really, really important question. Um, yeah, acknowledgement, a word for thought. That's so true. But yeah, I hope I've answered most of your questions.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Anagha. Thank you very much. Do we have more questions coming in, please? If you still have a question you want to ask her in person, please, you could do that as we round off. Okay, I'll take the silence as no. Thank you very much once again, Anagha. Thank you, everyone. I think at this point, I would, Dr. Adi, are you available to speak?
Yes, I am.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Firstly, I want to say thank you so much, Anagha. If people can drop in emojis, give her a round of applause. Like, let's just fill up her screen. This has been amazing, very, very insightful. And I love your energy. I know that was one of the things I noticed the first time we met. You have this excitement around you, always bubbling. I think it's a thing for people that work with young people. You seem to just remain young yourself, and your energy is just always young. Thank you so much. And to the girls, thank you for sharing your experience. It's great to hear your own voice. That was really amazing. Thank you for coming up with that, Anagha. Like when she asked for that, I had to say yes, like, yes, let's hear the girls themselves. One thing I am personally taking away from today's conversation, um, oh, Barakat has a hand up. Is that a question?
No, ma, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
It
Barakat.
was
Go ahead,
just a
please.
comment to the
Yes,
last
please.
question that was asked. Thank you very much, Miss Kamath. That was a very beautiful session. So, regarding the how to balance risk, so I was going to add to that one way that we can also help is to actually let them be aware of this risk that is involved. So when they are aware about the risk, it will also help them in navigating that process or whatever it is that we want them to do. For instance, the example of the bicycle that she cited. So if the child is probably scared or the parent is scared of the risk that can happen when the child rides the bicycle, you can already have let the girl know that, oh, these are the things that can happen, or don't ride on a slippery road, or examples like that. It will help the girl in she can take the risk. I mean, she would be brave by doing that action, and then she's already aware of the risk ahead, and that would help her in navigating that piece. Thank you very much, ma.
Thank you so much,
Thank,
Barakat, for yeah,
yeah,
Anagha,
thank
go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
No, sorry. I was just going to say thank you so much, Barakat. That also made me think that, some of the real risks out there that could be of violence against women. I think in those situations as well, I mean, examples like bicycles are smaller risks. When you think about violence out there, which are really like real risks when it comes to safety, violence, it could be domestic, it could be violence against women in the form of rape or attacks or any of those things. I think one thing that we can do for girls is to let them know that it's not their fault that this happened, and let them
Mhm.
know that when something like this happens, they have us to lean back on. They don't need to hide it. They don't need to be scared. And it's okay to be scared. Honestly, it's okay to be scared. But they need to know that we are there for them and we will be with there through them. And this is not on them. And we will help them through this. So I think just knowing that they have somebody to lean upon, somebody that will still see them for who they are, despite some of these real risks out there, that can give them a lot of confidence in tackling these even when they experience something like this. So just knowing that for themselves can also make a huge difference, because we cannot stop the violence out there entirely, right? It's going to happen until the world becomes the world that we want it to become. It's going to happen out there. So can we be those people who give girls the confidence, saying that, hey, this could happen to you, but when this happens to you, I'm going to be there for you. So
Mm.
it's okay to be scared, it's okay for you to feel the way you are, but I'm going to be there with you in the way you want me to be there for you. So just knowing that can make such a huge difference in a girl's life.
Mm. Thank you so much. That's amazing. And thank you, Barakat, for bringing us back to that. That's great. It's not about covering up the risk and telling them oh, just do this. Like there's nothing involved. It's okay to let them know the risk. It's okay to let them know it's okay to be scared, but then you can do it. That's the power we are giving our girls. Thank you so much. Thank you again, as I was saying. For me, the major thing, Guinea Kachi puts in the comments that she enjoyed this program. Yeah, plus one to that. I've totally enjoyed this conversation. And for me, I'm leaving with that raising girls that lead is not about preparing them for some distant future. A lot of times when we talk about it, we think it's about preparing them for their future, but it happens in the everyday moments. It happens in the opportunities we give them to make decisions today, to learn new skills, to manage money, the opportunities we give them to speak for themselves, to move confidently at home, at school, through their communities, and to believe that their ideas, their thoughts, it matters. And I was particularly struck by the way Anagha was able to connect confidence with opportunity. Yeah, there was something she said, confidence doesn't come first, action comes first. It's about giving them the opportunity to act. Let them take the action. That is how confidence builds. It doesn't develop in isolation. Girls become confident when they are trusted, when they are exposed to new experiences, when they are allowed to try, when they're allowed to sometimes fail and then try again. Leadership is not, it's not something we suddenly discover in adulthood. It's not meant for later. It's cultivated through childhood and adolescence. So as we leave today, I'd like us to reflect on a very simple question. What is that one opportunity I can intentionally create for a girl in my life? And that can be your neighbor. It can be a girl on your streets. It can be a girl if you work with RAF or you work with KickStart Girls. The one girl that you work with, one girl in your school, your own daughter. What is one opportunity I can intentionally create for that one girl in my life? It might be giving her a chance to make a decision. It might be teaching her a practical skill. It might be encouraging her to manage money. Like, as your daughter, I'm giving you these 2,000 naira to manage. I want to see how you will handle it. I want to see how you will draw up a budget. It can be traveling independently, well, in safe areas in Nigeria right now, when it is appropriate. It can be speaking up in a meeting or simply reminding her that her voice matters and you want to hear her thoughts, you want to hear her ideas. Real change does not, it doesn't always begin with big programs, with policies. A lot of times we sit back and we complain about the policies, about not having big programs around us. It doesn't, the change doesn't start with that. It starts with you. It starts in your home as a mother, as a father, as a teacher in a school, as a volunteer in RAF, as a neighbor, as an adult that lives in a community. Real change starts with you. And it begins with one adult. It begins with you choosing to believe in just one girl. It starts with that one girl. See the examples Anagha gave us. When girls are empowered, they want the others to experience the same thing. They want other girls inspired. So, to everyone who joined us today, I'm saying thank you for investing your time in this conversation. It's been interesting. And for the work you do for adolescents around you, even if it's just one adolescent, thank you so much. Your presence here, that you joined this call today, tells us that this work matters. It tells us that the life of girls, the life of young people matters to you. And we really appreciate that. And so, Anagha and the girls, again, I want to say thank you once again for challenging us to think differently, to think deeper, and for reminding us that when we invest in girls' confidence, when we invest in the skills of girls and in their agency, we are investing in stronger families, we are investing in stronger communities and a better future. We hope you join us again for our next RAF Learning Hub. We will have a great conversation again very soon. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day ahead or night, depending on where you're joining from. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
once
thank
again for
you.
having me, Ade, and the team at RAF. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm going to close that out with music. I hope we can all hear it. Thank you. Thank you. I see the comments. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great evening. Have a great day ahead. And feel free to log off.